welcome to Sci-Fi-Night. I'm your host, Sebastian Vendel Martinez, and this is a show where we take a look at some of the lesser known sci-fi and horror movies out there and try to find the right expectations needed to get the most out of them. So, in tonight's episode, time is on my side. Don't worry, you'll get it. So yeah, like I said, don't worry, you'll get the whole song reference in a little bit. 1998's Fallen is a crime thriller directed by Gregory Hoblit. Not Hobbit, Hoblit. And he's directed the 2007 thriller Fracture with Anthony Hopkins, and one episode of a horror series with Strain, and... Alright, let's face it, none of us really know director Gregory Hoblit all that well, but you might after this episode. The film stars powerhouse actor Denzel Washington, who needs no introduction, and is backed up by fine actors such as John Goodman, Donald Sutherland, and Elias Koteas. Washington plays Detective John Hobbs, whose name is actually very clever, but we'll get back to that later. For the past couple of years, he's been hot on the tail of serial killer Edgar Reese, who Hobbs finally put away. The film opens up just around the time of Reese's execution, but the serial killer seems a little too happy to be put to death.
Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side.
Yeah, and that song that he sings, expect that to show up more in the film. Now, an obvious bad sign is that Reese decides to go all exorcist before his execution. I mean, let's face it, when is that ever a good omen?
Still a good fellow.
So everything seems fine after Reese's execution, up until people start getting murdered in ways that are all too similar to Reese's famous killings.
Corner's prelim on the Ruski. Not that wacko poison that Reese used on them Arab kids?
At first this gets dismissed as being crimes committed by a copycat, but when the suspects themselves also end up dead, our hero is left having to look for more, well, let's say alternative explanations.
But what does Azazel mean? Your father, he wrote it in the basement on the wall, then he painted over it. Now, my dictionary says that it's the evil spirit of the wilderness, whatever that means, huh?
So it's not very often you get a crime thriller with religious overtones, demons, possessions, curses. Let's just say that this isn't really your typical crime thriller. As usual, I don't like to spoil too much of a plot.
No.
But let's just say right off that this film is very well made and it benefits from a second viewing so you can notice everything. That's not to say you have to have your eyes glued to the screen while taking notes, but you'll definitely get rewarded for paying attention. I also really like the camera work and cinematography. The whole film is very grainy and atmospheric. In some ways the film gives off a similar feeling as the crime masterpiece Seven. The demonic point of view shots are very cool, and overall the film gives off this feeling that our protagonist is constantly being watched, never alone and never safe. So you know how I said that Denzel Washington's character's name, John Hobbs, is very smart and that this benefits from a second viewing? Well, let's examine why. Alright, so let's get back to John Hobbs, the name of a cop that Washington plays. The name is derived from the two philosophers Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. Hobbes thought that humans were evil and needed to be restrained by society, while Locke felt that humans were capable of intellectual, peaceful existence. These two themes of good and evil in the heart of man are very central to the film, and it's small things like this that really elevate the film as a whole.
I could jump across the table, right? Snatch your heart right out of your chest. My bare hand. Squeeze the blood out of it and stick it in your front pocket. I could do that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If I lost control. But if I did, I would be no different than the people we bust.
So, those themes definitely elevate the film, but what should you expect from it? Demons versus cops. This film makes me wonder why crime and supernatural aren't combined more often, because this concept really works. Sure, a lot of that is due to the next point of what to expect, but it's still pretty cool. Think something along the lines of The Exorcist meets CSI, but without the really bad one-liners.
Something tells me this guy was planning something big.
And not alone.
Frank, it turns out the wave is not the only thing about to hit Miami.
So keep in mind that you're not getting something along the lines of R.I.P.D. This film was much more toned down, realistic, and brooding.
I'm very sorry about that.
Great cast and crew. So can somebody tell me why Gregory Hoblit hasn't really made anything else of note? This film is pretty damn well made, and though there are some problems and plot holes in the script,
when it's a perfect world, let me know.
the film itself looks great. All the actors do a fantastic job, and I especially like Elias Koteas as a serial killer and John Goodman as the sympathetic partner of Hobbs.
It's like when a moment comes, you either do the right thing or wrong.
And obviously Denzel Washington does a fantastic job, which we really expect from him, but he really brings out his most Denzel in this role.
Something threatened me. And it's Reese. He threatened me in Aramaic. I mean, we're going backwards.
What else did Reese say?
Hey, I'm asking the questions here, Miss Milano. You answer the questions that I ask, okay?
A pleasant surprise. Despite this film having an above average IMDb rating of a solid 7, this still stands as an underrated crime thriller in my opinion. The supernatural twist adds a lot of flavor to the film, it's very well made, very well shot, and there are tons of small details that make the film that much richer. The film does suffer from a couple problems, not everyone will love the ending, and in all fairness, the film does have some kind of dry parts that really needed a little bit more excitement.
Congratulations. Fuck you.
The dark atmosphere isn't always as present as it should be, but overall, this is a quality film that I really enjoy. So, if you've ever watched Training Day or The Bone Collector and thought to yourself, this Denzel Washington crime thriller is great, but it needs more demons and possessions, well, then this is definitely the film for you. If you're a fan of Denzel Washington in these types of roles, or you like your cop movies with a dash of the supernatural, then you should definitely check this out. Also, the film is just flat out interesting.
Do you like riddles?
No, I don't.
Here's a beaut. Why is there a space between Lions and Spikoski?
There's a lot of symbolism and details that enrich the film and make it much more memorable. If you like films like The Sixth Sense, A Stir of Echoes, and Angel Heart, then I highly recommend this film as well. However, one thing I have to state is that you will not be able to get that song Time Is On My Side out of your head after watching this film. So, with that out of the way, that about rounds up this episode of Sci-Fi Night. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, you guys should leave us some comments below letting us know what you thought of this episode, the movie Fallen, and what kind of movies you want to see brought up here in the future. However, before you do that, you should obviously click the like and subscribe button because that's only done by really cool people. So, I'm your host, Sebastian Mendel Martinez, and we'll catch you guys next time.
What goes around really goes around.
You have a safe trip, yeah?